The 5 worst Premier League teams ever. Did you know that Derby County once finished the league with only 11 points? Yep, 8 draws and 1 win. The Premier League is arguably one of the toughest leagues in the world, and the bottom half, where clubs compete to escape relegation, can be especially challenging. Although conventional wisdom holds that teams must reach the magic number of 40 points to ensure their place in the division, in reality, the magic number is typically lower than that. Relegation fights are frequently fiercely contested, but occasionally one side stands out as being by far the worst of them all, much to the dismay of their supporters. Here are the 5 worst ever teams in the history of the Premier League. Number 5. Sheffield United, 2020-2021. Points, 17. For everyone associated with Sheffield United in the 2020-2021 season was utterly miserable. Most people anticipated United to immediately return to the Championship, despite Chris Wilder, a former Blades fan, taking the team from League One to the Premier League. However, the ex-manager of Northampton and Oxford United disproved the sceptics with an outstanding 9th place result. Before the lockdown in 2020, the Blades were only 5 points out of the Champions League spots and finished just 2 points behind FA Cup champion Arsenal. The situation for the Bladesmen couldn't be much better. The club wasn't anticipated to suffer during the 2020-2021 season due to Wilder's heart-on-sleeve leadership style and his team's great work ethic. However, the first difficulty the Blades encountered was finding a replacement for Dean Henderson, who had done the club so well during 2 loan stints. Aaron Ramsdale, who had received criticism that season, was brought in to replace him. As a result of a recurring knee injury, defensive colossus Jack O'Connell was later sidelined for the season by Wilder, while John Egan, another crucial member of the defence that allowed fewer goals than Tottenham, Chelsea and Leicester last season, was injured in February. Major injuries to midfielders John Fleck and Sander Berge also upset the club's flow, while John Lundstrom's poor play since he declined a new deal then hurt the team as well. While Bramall Lane's summer hiring was disappointing, the aforementioned Ramsdale had difficulty, as the former Bournemouth goalkeeper had been unable to earn back the rumoured £18 million United paid for him. Ryan Brewster was then acquired for £20 million by Wilder because his team desperately needed more firepower, even though the England under-21 attacker had yet to prove his talent on a major stage. Even if the former had occasionally impressed, the dual acquisition of Derby County fullbacks Jayden Bogle and Max Lowe could be questioned. After losing their first 17 games and only picking up 2 points, the Blades won their first game of the season on their 18th attempt. Unexpectedly winning 2-1 at Old Trafford, there was a spectacular escape in the works. However, United was unable to string together a run of victories to prevent relegation, and after a 2-0 loss to Southampton, it was announced that Wilder would step down as manager after 5 years in command. Prince Abdullah, the club's owner, even asserted that Wilder made 2 resignation attempts, but ultimately left the team after demanding a £4 million compensation package. Number 4. Aston Villa, 2015-2016. Points, 17. While 3 victories from the final 6 games of the 2014-2015 season, including a standout effort at the Etihad in one of those losses, there was a sense of hope among Aston Villa supporters going into the Tim Sherwood-led 2015-2016 season, even though pre-season departures were an omen of things to come. Fabian Delph, the then club's captain, quit despite saying he was determined to remain there just a week ago, while prolific goalscorer Christian Benteke joined Liverpool for a reported sum of £32.5 million, seasoned defender Ron Vlaar declined a new deal. Sherwood had the money he needed to rebuild his team as a result, but the club struggled with recruitment. Micah Richards joined on a free transfer from Manchester City, and later got into altercations with supporters. Jolien Lescott, a lifelong Villa supporter, joined from West Bromwich Albion, but caused controversy after tweeting an accidental picture from his pocket after a 6-0 loss to Liverpool, and Rudy Gestede, who joined from Blackburn for £6 million, found the Premier League to be a level too high. Villa also acquired a lot of players from international leagues, albeit some of them initially struggled, but eventually had successful careers. Idrissa Gueye came from Lille to the team and afterward played for Everton and Paris Saint-Germain. Jordan Amavi, a left-back with promise, at that time was linked to a transfer to Arsenal, while Jordan Veretout had scored 10 or more goals for Roma at a point in that season. Sherwood took a chance on a youthful Adama Traore, who had shown his exceptional physical qualities in the Premier League with Wolves. Jordan Ayew, who also moved from Marseille, had subsequently gone on to prove his talent with Crystal Palace. Although they defeated Bournemouth 1-0 on opening day, these players found it difficult to adjust to the rigours of Premier League football. Remy Gaillard took Sherwood's place after the manager was fired following a 2-1 loss to Swansea and 9 games without a victory. After Villa's 5-month winless streak, Lescott scored in a 1-0 victory over Crystal Palace. Gaillard is regarded as one of the worst Premier League managers ever because he managed just 2 victories in his final 4 months before being fired. The Villains were demoted to the Championship with only 17 points after losing all 13 of their final games of the season. Number 3. Huddersfield Town, 2018-2019. Points 16. For making Huddersfield Town into a Premier League team from Championship relegation fodder, David Wagner was hailed as a genius. Additionally, it was believed that the German was a miracle worker when he kept the Terriers in the top division. Huddersfield was the feel-good story of the 2017-2018 Premier League season after defeating teams like Manchester United and Newcastle and picking up points from Manchester City and Chelsea. However, the following campaign saw everything collapse. By betting on players like Isaac Mbenza, Adama Diakabi and Ramadan Sobhi, who all failed to live up to expectations while the rest of the team could not sustain their performance level from the previous season, Wagner and company attempted to add firepower to the league's lowest scorers. The Terriers defeated Fulham 1-0 to win their opening game of the season, and they quickly followed it up with an excellent 2-0 victory away at Wolves. Nevertheless, Wagner's departure in January meant that this would be his final victory as coach, after a hilarious instance of mistaken identity in the John Smith Stadium, where the crowd led a Sky Sports reporter to mistakenly believe that Jan Sievert was in the director's box when it was actually a town supporter named Martin. Sievert's reign was doomed to failure. 3 months passed until the team's next victory, which ironically came once more against Wolves. Despite having only joined in January, Carlan Grant concluded the season as the Terriers' highest scorer, which was an indication of the team's poor goal-scoring performance. Despite finishing the season with only 16 points, Huddersfield earned respectable draws against Manchester United and Southampton. Number 2. Sunderland, 2005-2006. Points 15. The Black Cats, with their 2005-2006 season, deserve an appearance on this list. As champions of the Championship going into the 2005-2006 season, Sunderland supporters could have been excused for hoping for a better effort than their Premier League campaign in 2002-2003. But somehow things grew worse. The majority of the summer's acquisitions came from lower leagues, with those with Premier League experience only joining on free transfers and loan agreements, as Mick McCarthy was only allocated a single transfer budget of £4 million. Before a 2-0 victory over Middlesbrough, players including John Stead, Stephen Caldwell and Dean Whitehead had a losing record in their first 6 games. Although the team only managed to pick up 1 point during that time frame before the victory at the Hawthorns in January, they would not win again until a little under 4 months later against West Bromwich Albion. Even though the Black Cats were all but out of it and had nothing but pride to play for, McCarthy was fired in March and replaced by club veteran Kevin Ball. The team waited 3 months for its third and last victory, which finally came in the club's penultimate game of the season against Fulham. The team finished the season with an abysmal 15 points. Now let's talk about the team with the worst record of all. Number 1. Derby County, 2007-2008. Points 11. The notorious Derby County team from the 2007-2008 season would go down in Premier League history for a very long time. Billy Davies led the Rams into the top division as clear underdogs after they defied expectations to earn promotion from the Championship the previous year. The club spent over £8 million on Robert Earnshaw, Claude Davies and Kenny Miller over the summer, which left a lot to be desired. The team was severely lacking in Premier League experience, with only the arrival of fullback Andy Griffin coming close to having any kind of familiarity with the league. Derby started the season with a respectable 2-2 draw against Portsmouth, but after losing their first 5 games, they finally won one against Newcastle, with Miller scoring the game's lone goal. Following Derby's 2-0 loss against Chelsea, which dropped them to the bottom of the standings, Davies was fired and quickly succeeded by Paul Jewell. Despite bringing in Robbie Savage, Alan Stubbs, Danny Mills, Roy Carroll, and Laurent Robert in January, Jules' team failed to win any of the final 24 games of the season. The Rams finished the season with an appalling 11 points, which made their impending relegation clear as early as March after a 2-2 draw with Fulham. They even matched Loughborough's 108-year record of finishing a season with just one victory. There you have it, the 5 worst Premier League teams ever. We sincerely hoped you enjoyed watching the video. What are your thoughts about our list? Also, make sure to watch this video in the link, and if you like our content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications. On the screen now should be another good video worth watching. So click on that video and we will see you in the next one.
You